Opt out or contact us anytime. Besides his Today perch, Mr. Lauer was a genial co-host of events like the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade and the Winter and Summer Olympics, and he conducted countless interviews with celebrities. He also contributed to NBC News's political coverage, although he was widely panned after a debate last year in which he appeared to go easy on Mr. Trump while asking aggressive questions of Hillary Clinton. Advertisement continued reading the main story the Today Show caters to, and relies on, an overwhelmingly female audience, and Mr. Lauer is part of a cast that presents itself as a tight-knit family. Behind the scenes, however, the on-set environment can sometimes resemble a boys' club, particularly in the years before Comcast completed its acquisition of NBCUniversal in 2013, according to interviews with more than half a dozen former staff members. Jokes about women's appearances were routine, the former employees said. One former producer recalled a director saying he wanted some milk in reference to one woman's chest and making inappropriate comments about women over an audio feed with multiple people listening. Two former employees recalled colleagues playing a crude game in which they chose which female guests or staff members they would prefer to marry, kill or have sex with. The former employees spoke anonymously because they feared their career prospects in the industry could be harmed. Other current and former staff members, however, described a more professional work culture, and said they did not witness harassment. An NBC spokeswoman declined on Wednesday to comment on the boys' club characterization, but pointed out that 13 of 19 senior-level female producers at Today had been promoted since 2015. The woman who described the encounter in 2001 with Mr. Lauer in his office told The Times that the anchor had made inappropriate comments to her shortly after she started as a Today producer in the late 1990s. While traveling with Mr. Lauer for a story, she said, he asked her inappropriate questions over dinner, like whether she had ever cheated on her husband. On the way to the airport, she said, Mr. Lauer sat uncomfortably close to her in the car. She recalled that when she moved away, he said, "You're no fun." In 2001, the woman said, Mr. Lauer, who is married, asked her to his office to discuss a story during the workday. When she sat down, she said, he locked the door, which he could do by pressing a button while sitting at his desk. People who worked at NBC said the button was a regular security measure installed for high-profile employees. Advertisement continued reading the main story. The woman said Mr. Lauer asked her to unbutton her blouse, which she did. She said the anchor then stepped out from behind his desk, pulled down her pants, bent her over a chair and had intercourse with her. At some point, she said, she passed out with her pants pulled halfway down. She woke up on the floor of his office, and Mr. Lauer had his assistant take her to the nurse. The woman told The Times that Mr. Lauer never made an advance toward her again and never mentioned what occurred in his office. She said she did not report the episode to NBC at the time because she believed she should have done more to stop Mr. Lauer. She left the network about a year later. On Wednesday, the episode in Mr. Lauer's office was reported to NBC News after the woman told her then supervisor, who still works at the network. The woman said an NBC Human Resources representative had since contacted her. The woman, who was in her early 40s at the time, told her then husband about the encounter, which The Times confirmed with him in a phone call. The couple was separated at the time, and later divorced. She also described it to a friend 5 years ago, which the friend confirmed to The Times. NBC News has suffered other black eyes, as well. Last year, the network reviewed 2005 footage from the NBC-owned show Access Hollywood that revealed Mr. Trump bragging about grabbing women's genitalia. But the footage was released first by a competitor, The Washington Post, embarrassing the NBC News division. In recent weeks, NBC News was criticized for passing on an exposé of Mr. Weinstein by an MSNBC contributor, Ronan Farrow. Mr. Farrow's reporting later appeared in The New Yorker, and helped spark the current wave of revelations about abuses by powerful men in media and entertainment. John